I would like to call the Joint Finance Audits and Budget and Public Services Committee to order for Tuesday, July 20th, 2021. Second item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item number 3 is adoption of the agenda. I need a motion to adopt.
Romano adopts the agenda.
Motion by Romanos, supported by Haw. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
The motion passes 11-0.
Okay, next item is approval of minutes. 4A is Finance Audit Budget Committee dated June 15th, 2021. Need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second,
Motion by
Zinner.
Van Zickel, supported by Commissioner Zinner. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
The motion passes 11-0.
Okay, item number 4B, Public Services Committee dated June 16th, 2021. Approval of those minutes as well. Need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Van Sickle, supported by Commissioner Wallace. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote.
The motion passes 11-0.
Okay, next item on the agenda is public participation. This is the first opportunity for public participation for anyone that wish to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on an item which is on today's agenda. And there'll also be a second opportunity for public participation. Anyone from the public that would like to speak? Going once, going twice. We'll close public participation. Move on to 6A, which is the Finance Audit Budget Committee Department recommendations. 6A is a resolution 2021-6696 designated public fund depository in compliance with Act 40 Public Acts of 1932 as amended. We need a motion to recommend this to full board.
Moved by Romano.
Support.
Moved by Romano, supported by Van Sickle. And we have Joe Biondo, our Deputy County Treasurer, to speak on this.
Thank you, Chairman Sabatini. Hello, Commissioners. Today is a rather straightforward matter. We're asking that the board adopt a new depository resolution that is word for word identical to the one that was previously adopted earlier this year, the only exception to that statement being the addition of 4 new banks. So to go back, June 24th, this board approved a new investment policy. The very next day, June 25th, the Macomb County Treasurer's Office sent out a questionnaire to a targeted list of banks. This questionnaire was developed prior to June 24th. We were obviously anticipating that the investment policy would be adopted by the full board meeting. And so I worked on the questionnaire along with Deputy Treasurer of Investments, Christina Miller, and Assistant Corporation Counsel, Frank Crecia. We came up with a 22 question questionnaire. We submitted or sent that out to the targeted banks that we were interested in receiving responses to. We sent it out to 15 banks. Most of them were being used by Oakland County, so they were already vetted. And the one thing I want to highlight about this process is we kind of had a time constraint in the sense that we wanted to get this questionnaire out. We gave them 2 weeks to respond. The ones that responded, we reviewed with the team that I mentioned previously. We made a recommendation to the treasurer based on the review of the documents they provided. At the start of the meeting, I provided to the commissioners a spreadsheet listing the borrow ratings, Robinson ratings, and the capitalization or market cap book value of the banks. Now, on the banks listed here, the top part of the document is all the current banks we have. So as you can see, all the current banks we already do business with are either rated 4-star, 5-star. It's important to keep in mind that under the borrow rating system, anything 3-star or higher is considered investment grade, so that's good. Robinson rating, similar thing, anything C or higher is considered investment grade, and as you can tell, all the current banks we do business with are some form of A or B grade. Now, the 4 new banks, if you take a look at it, 5 stars across all 4 of them there on the bottom, and then either an A- for Horizon Bank, B+ for the rest, so good banks. And then the final rows to give you an idea, how big a bank are we talking about? The market cap is basically the number they look at, and that's the publicly traded share price times the volume or the number of outstanding stock. That's how they get that number to say, for example, Bank of America has a market cap of $327 billion. Now, some of the banks, obviously, they don't have their shares publicly traded. In that situation, we use something called the book value, which is basically the number of shares outstanding multiplied by the book price per share. And that's provided by the institutions, and it's submitted to, for government review. Long story short, the banks that we're asking to add to our current list of banks, we feel are good banks, and we look forward to doing business with them. I should note that as far as the rates, because that was one of the questions we asked, the 4 new banks are comparable to our current list of banks. So we feel that, they're a good fit. And finally, as far as location data, we wanted to highlight that as well. So some of the comments we got from the commissioner when we were in the process of updating the investment policy is we want to try to keep as much money in Macomb County as possible. Treasurer Rocker agrees with that. So as we went through the targeted list of banks, in addition to the Oakland County banks, we targeted Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank has 22 locations in Macomb County. Treasurer Rocca actually inquired about them back in October. Christina Miller, our Deputy Treasurer of Investments, reached out to them in October of last year, basically said, these are our best rates we're currently receiving. Can you match or beat them? At that time, they indicated no. But based on the feedback we got from the board, we figured, why not send them the questionnaire, see how they respond? And, now the question is, what kind of rates are you offering instead of can you beat the best rates? And their rates are comparable to what we're seeing with our current banks. So we think that's a good fit. It's a Macomb County bank, and that's a plus for the county. Horizon Bank has 0 locations in Macomb County. Their closest location is Troy, and they have 15 in the state. Superior National Bank is interesting. So their closest branch is in Bingham Farms, but they actually have a location in Clinton Township. It's just not a bank branch. It's a home loan center. So technically, we felt, that's kind of a gray area. Let's go through the discussion with the board. If we were able to change the investment policy, which we did, we would include them. And so that's how, we got to that bank. The last bank, the State Bank, their closest location is in Farmington Hills. They have 15 locations in the state. And I don't believe I mentioned it, but Superior National has 9 locations throughout the state, closest one being Bingham Farms. So I just wanted to kind of review that process. It was pretty quick turnaround time, but these were banks that we knew about beforehand. We think they're good banks. Long term, we've already had discussion with Mr. Larry Lee, the purchasing director. The plan going forward is in the fall. We're looking at October of this year, go through a formal RFI process. And we do that in the fall of every year in the lead up to January when we present the new depository resolution. It'll be a more formal process to request this information. Hopefully we'll be able to cast a larger net and go through that RFI process. That's the plan going forward that the treasurer would like to pursue depending on the input that he receives from the commissioners. So we're asking today that this depository resolution be approved now so we can add some banks to have some more diversity for the rest of this year, and then have the opportunity to work with purchasing, do a formal RFI regarding this stuff, and come back in January for a new depository resolution for next year. So I think those are all the points the treasurer wanted me to cover regarding this matter. I'm certainly happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Joe. Actually, we have a few people that would like to speak. I just have a couple quick questions here. to tee off the conversation. So, staff, can we make this part of the record as well, what Joe had handed out to us? In regards to your R5 process that you had asked, or you had described, I'm just curious, have all the Macomb County banks been notified now by us in regards to our new investment policy that fit in there?
Yeah, so we're in the process of doing that, but we also want to provide the new depository resolution, but long story short, we want to get acknowledgements of the investment policies. We're in the process of getting that. And once we have all those acknowledgements, we can forward them to the board.
Okay, and can you talk about the R5 process? Because there's a lot of new commissioners, and just
Yeah.
what's that process? How does it
So,
work?
the idea would be in the fall, we would go through a formal process in conjunction with purchasing. So the purchasing department would assist us in developing basically the parameters of a posting we would put out there, and we would ask basically banks to provide information in response to this request for information. The reason why we want to partner with purchasing is this is sort of what they do, that this is their role. So they do, requests for bids along with requests for information. And Mr. Lee, I spoke to him before I came up to the meeting today, and he was very excited about working together on this project with us. And I know he'd be happy to answer detailed question about how the RFI process would work. I would defer to Mr. Lee. But I know from now until we actually roll out the RFI, we're going to be working together to develop the questions of, the information we're looking for.
Great, thank you, Joe. Thank you for explaining that process. Commissioner Farrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Joe, good to see you. I haven't seen these kind of grades on the Robinson, on my report card ever, so good choice. Question though, and this slipped by me earlier in the year when we had the same resolution. I just blinked on me. Here it is. Section 2C.
Just a moment, sir, while I pull that.
Yeah, I'll just read it out loud.
Okay.
It's pretty simple. It basically says no bank or financial institution exceeds 50% of the capitalization of an individual bank or financial institution. As fiduciaries, we're holding people's monies. It seems like 50% of a bank's holding is an awfully high number to have of our money in an institution. And I know this is, in the previous one, staff did some good research and went back a few years. It's been there as long as they could find it. I would like to hear your perspective on that, because knowing that you didn't create it, but it just, to me, it seems way out of place.
Yeah, I don't know what the historical background is on that clause. I can talk to Mr. Creashaw. He's the Assistant Corporation Counsel responsible for doing the review of the document each year before we present it. I can definitely ask Mr. Creashaw, at what point was that inserted? Why was that inserted? There's a good chance he would know. Personally, I don't think that's something the treasurer would ever want. I mean, we want to be as diversified as possible.
Right.
That's the reason why it's so important to increase the number of banks from 11 to now 15, even though we know that Huntington and TCF are going to merge, and so we'll go back down to 14, which is why, again, the treasurer thought, why don't we do something innovative? We'll partner up with purchasing, do the RFI. But yes, that's just because that says it's up to 50%. Obviously, in my opinion, if we could, we would only put a couple percent of the portfolio in a bunch of banks, but now we're talking 20, 25 banks. And maybe that's the direction we want to go after we do the RFI. So yes, I would be uncomfortable,
Yeah.
going that close, so yes. And if there's,
And if you could work with the chairman, if it's okay with the chairman, and maybe I'll support it here, but before the board meeting, maybe come up with a lower number and just change it, if it's okay with the chairman.
treasurer would always be happy to talk to the commissioners about any issue like that.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Romano.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, Mr. Biondo.
Hello, sir.
First things first, I think you guys did a great job, you and Treasurer Rocca and your staff, putting this together. I know this is something that we asked for. I know for a fact, I guess I shouldn't assume, but I will ask, all of the 4 banks that you mentioned, all FDIC insured?
Yes, they all are,
Fine.
sir. That was one of the questions in the
Okay,
questionnaire.
but I know that we had asked for this information. I personally feel that our money is safe and secure. I think you guys are doing a great job. This is something that we all asked for as far as the banks are concerned, and I just think, hey, I feel comfortable with you guys handling the money. Thank you. That's all I have, Chair.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Zinner.
My question was answered, thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Romano just mentioned FDIC insured.
Yes.
I know on personal deposits, shall we say, the limit isn't anywhere near what I think the county's going to exceed. What is the county's coverage?
Thank you for the question. This was asked before, and I had an opportunity to review that question with Mr. Kresha. Based on our review, the county would be protected up to $250,000 per bank, but it's per tax ID, not per account. So obviously, as far as FDIC insurance coverage goes, you would have to have quite a few banks to fully insure, the amount of money this county handles. And so, that's just in regards to something that would be specific with that bank. Obviously, commercial paper, that's an underlying asset. While we might buy it through JP Morgan Chase, we own that asset. So in a worst-case scenario of JP Morgan going under, that commercial paper we bought through JP Morgan, that would still have value. But obviously, that's different from FDIC insurance coverage, if that answers your question, sir.
Is there any private insurance that would pick up the slack, or do we just really have confidence that's never going to happen?
So there was another conversation following up to the one I had with Mr. Kresha. The county self-insures, based on Mr. Kresha's legal opinion. He doesn't think that the county's self-insurance would cover a situation where, a bank that's been added to a depository resolution, God forbid something went south with that bank.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
The motion passes 13-0.
Great. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for being here.
Commissioners.
Item number 7 is correspondence. 7A, Treasurer's Office, 2021 second quarterly report. Need a motion to receive and file.
Matusek moves.
Support
Nard.
second.
Motion by Commissioner Matuzak, supported by Commissioner Nard. Any questions? Yes, we do. Commissioner Farrington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Joe, I just like having these explanations. You're so good at this.
I'll do the best I can, sir.
I'd like to make a request, if it's supported by the chair, that instead of getting a detailed report every time this comes up, if you can have it summarized by institution for each group. I don't think it should be up to the commissioners to add up each line item separately to find out how much we have invested in each department and overall in the institutions. So that'd be my request if it's supported. Thank you.
I definitely support that, Commissioner.
Can I comment on that? So that's something that we are working on. We're hoping to develop a pie chart showing the distribution of the portfolio by institution. That's something as we work on, once I have an initial draft, I can maybe share with the chair of the committee and whoever else he might direct to let us know we're going in the right direction, and then we can proceed.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Seeing no other questions, please vote.
The motion passes 13-0.
Okay, 7B, memo from Treasurer Rocca dated June 28th, 2021 regarding the 2019 delinquent property tax sale proceeds report. I need a motion to receive and file. Motion by Commissioner Wallace, supported by Commissioner Farrington. Any speakers? Seeing no questions, please vote.
The motion passes 13-0.
7C, a letter from State of Michigan Department of Treasury dated June 22nd, 2021 regarding the appointment of William Griffin as Macomb County Designated Assessor. Need a motion to receive and file.
Moved by Kleinfeld.
Moved by Commissioner Kleinfeld, supported by Commissioner Nard. Any questions? Seeing none, please vote.
The motion passes 13 to 0.
Great. We are now to the Public Services Committee Department recommendations, so I'll turn it over to Commissioner and Chair of that committee, Commissioner Farrington.
Thank you, Mr. Co-Chairman. I'd like to bring up item number 8A, Budget Amendment, Planning Economic Development Grant 361. Brian Santos? No? And who do we have speaking here? Oh, Vicky, jeez.
Brian, do you want to talk for me?
Welcome, Vicky. Sorry, I'm just used to saying Brian all the time. Welcome, thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Great to see faces today. Used to seeing you guys on a box. So in front of you is the budget amendment request for $115,000. This is a grant that we received through the Michigan Economic Development Corporation to create an awareness campaign for 12 months with Industry 4.0, really pushing and promoting this as a high-tech corridor for the region. And I'll take any questions.
Just a moment. Seeing no speakers, if we can take a vote. We never had a motion. I'd like to make a motion to approve this to the, recommend to the full board. So moved by Commissioner Romano, supported by Wallace. Thank you very much. I guess I didn't do a good job as a relief pitcher.
The motion passes 13 to 0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki. Appreciate it. Okay, now we got Brian. At this point, I'd like to have a motion for a contract. This is item 8B, MDOT construction of Cass Avenue Trail. Motion
Matuzak
by
moves.
Sabatini, Matuzak, support.
Support by Nard.
Thank you very much. Brian, please.
Yes, good afternoon, Commissioners. This is a standard MDOT contract for the Cass Avenue Trail. It's within Clinton Township. As you can see by the breakdown of the costs, the overall total is 1.7 in change, seeking approval of this contract, MDOT.
Thank you. Commissioner Matuzak.
Hi, Brian.
Hi.
I thought we already did this.
No, this is, so.
It's very confusing.
This is a separate, it's connected to the section we did across the bridge. We did a bridge project with rehabilitation, which had part of this section of walk that's adjacent to the bridge and the approach to the bridge. This is everything outside of that. So there's two separate contracts. This is a separate contract for that work versus the bridge work.
Okay. I get a serious amount of complaints from my constituents about why the bridge continues to be blocked and closed and no construction seems to be going on.
Yes, as part of that rehabilitation project that we had on the bridge, we had coordinated with the township to attach the sidewalk that they were looking at providing for their community. There were issues with the design of that walk, which was done by the community and their engineer. So we're waiting for a redesign for the attachment. There was an issue with the attachment to the bridge, which was on the township's end as far as the design. So we are currently waiting for the materials to get in based on the new requirements.
Okay. And has this contract for the finishing sections now, has that been already bid? And when do we anticipate that?
That would be this year. It has not been awarded yet, so
Okay.
that is in the process.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Zinner.
I'm not sure if Commissioner Matuzak asked this question with what she just said. Is there another addition is there another project connected to this when you finish this?
No, this will be the completion. So there was two separate projects. One was in conjunction with our bridge rehab, which we have the attachment of the walk to the bridge now. And then there was this project, which is everything outside of the bridge section to finish the project.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Commissioner.
Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
The motion passes 13-0.
Thank you very much. I'd like to have a motion to recommend to the full board item number 8C. This is a contract with MDOT again, Garfield Road reconstruction from 17 Mile to south of 19 Mile.
Matuzik moves.
Matuzik has the motion and supported by Wallace. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Brian.
Yes, once again, a standard MDOT contract for the mill and fill project on Garfield from 17 Mile to south of 19 Mile. This is a project that totals $3,628,200. This does have federal funds, just over 80%, with the matching balance, or the balance of $658,518, which is split 50-50 between us and the township. So seeking approval of this contract.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Matuzik.
Thanks, Brian, again. I'm frankly happy to finally get an update on this, considering I've emailed you a couple times and talked to you in person asking for an update.
Okay.
So I appreciate finally getting something. Again, has this been bid out already, and when is the projected construction site?
The letting has not taken place yet. It will be constructed by end of season, end of this year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Seeing no other questions, please vote.
The motion passes 13-0.
Thank you very much. We're on to item 8D. This is a contract with MDOT again, Harper Avenue Bridge Rehabilitation Project over Clinton River Spillway. I'd like to have a motion to full board. Moved by Romano, support by Zinner. Thank you very much. Brian, go ahead.
Yes, once again, this is a standard MDOT contract for work on the Harper Avenue Bridge over the Clinton River Spillway in the total amount of $2,717,000. And as far as separate funding, we have state funding of $2,173,600, which will leave a balance of $543,400. Seeking approval of this contract.
Seeing no questions, go ahead and vote. Oh, wait a minute. We have Commissioner Van Sickle.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Commissioner.
This is a roadway bridge, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
That was it? Okay, let's vote. Might be the quickest question we've had all year.
The motion passes 13-0.
Thank you very much. Now we're on to item 8E. If I can have a motion for the contract MDOT Hayes Road resurfacing from 10 Mile Road to 11 Mile Road. Motion. Motion by Harold Hall, Commissioner Hall. Support.
Support.
Support, who said that? Kleinfeld. Thank you very
Sorry,
much.
I usually say
Go ahead, Brian.
Kleinfeld.
Yes, once again, a standard MDOT contract for work on Hayes Road. Long time coming, obviously, Commissioner Kleinfeld. But yes, seeking approval of this contract in the total amount of $3,191,300. Department Road share is $605,923.
Thank you. We do have a couple questions, but I just want to verify, this is below 16 Mile Road, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Vice Chair Song.
Thank you, Chair. Hi, Brian.
Good afternoon.
I was looking at the 2021 road construction map that you guys have, and I noticed that there's nothing scheduled for 10 Mile between Van Dyke and Hoover, which would be Centerline and Warren. Is that an area that you can take a look at?
We can definitely take a look at it. I know we had a project set up for 10 Mile between Ryan and DeQuinder.
Okay, yeah, that would be, I saw that one on the west side, but I'm a little concerned about the east side of 10 Mile. And then another area would be 16 Mile. I believe that's a county road as well, too, between Mound and DeQuinder. And that's going west.
And the first stretch of 10 Mile was between where and where?
Van Dyke and Hoover.
Okay.
Thank you. And I know you talked about this before, but like, how do you guys determine, which roads to start with first?
We have an asset management program that we are establishing to give a more objective determination of projects moving forward in the future. We do have a community outreach program that we do speak with all the communities as far as their wants and needs list on an annual basis. So there's outreach to the communities as far as what they feel is critical. Obviously, we have our own opinions as far as what's critical on our roadways within those communities. So we try and coordinate both.
Okay, great. Well, if you guys ever plan on doing any more outreach, can you let me know? Then I can let, my constituents know that they can voice their concerns too. But I just know personally because I drive, those roads, and maybe to me it's important, but I know you guys have a lot of projects to work with, so
Correct.
just curious how you determine, the most high priority. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you, Chair. The very fact that it's a news event when it's below 16 mile, I just want people to take note of that. Two things. Feel free to take a look at the rest of 10 mile as well.
For sure. We're always looking.
I'm curious, when you originally had the assessment and, you could go online and look at the condition of the roads, we talked about the original repair for that was believed to be like $150,000, and I was like, I'm on that road, there's no way that's $150,000 repair. Was that a private company that did that assessment, or was it an in-house assessment of all the roads?
No, that was our assessment. When we got out there and started doing the actual design for that, we had originally planned for a mill and fill, which is a typical 8 to 10 year kind of a get us by. We obviously found out that there were areas that needed reconstruction, and a mill and fill just wasn't going to work. So that was kind of rethought out and redesigned to provide some reconstruct for a portion of it, and the rest is mill and fill. So we are working with HNTB firm, which is an asset management firm that's helping us move forward with a more objective, analysis of our entire roadway network. So every year, half of the county gets PASER rated, which means the assessment of the condition of all of our roads gets assessed, other than subdivisions, which is a local thing. So we are working on a project to better select projects in the future based on more of an analytical and more objective perspective.
Okay, I know about the PACER rating, and I had said for a long time, county guys aren't down on the south end because you don't have to plow, you don't have to do the maintenance down here. But it sounds like you're setting something up that everything's going to be looked at equally. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. We do have more questions. I have one. So this project, to evaluate the projects, what's the time frame of when this project will come forward?
Full implementation is probably next season. We're in the process and have been in the process of onboarding this with HNTB, and still in the process of getting that program established. We're working on the intricacies of programs and spreadsheets and stuff to assist our staff in better programming projects as well as selection process.
Thank you. Previous Chair Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. Hey, Brian.
How you doing?
In regards to this, I'm just kind of looking, so this is a resurfacing or reconstruction?
This is a resurfacing.
Okay.
Well, part of it, I should take that back. Part of it is a reconstruct, a remove and replace, and part of it is mill and fill.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense, because I was looking at the price point on this project compared to item 8C in regards to Garfield 17 and 19, and the price points on that one, are like, what, $500,000 more, and this one I'm looking at is what, a mile, but this is a little, well, it is a mile, but this is from Frazo also to 11, correct? That span from 10 to Frazo to 11?
10 to 11, basically.
Okay. So I'm looking at the price points here. Is that because of the reconstruction that the price point is a little bit higher here? I'm just trying to get a little clarity on why the Garfield project is 2 miles for 3.6 and this one is 1 mile for 3.2 or 3.1.
Yes, that is the result of the reconstruction that we're having to do. It's a lot more costly to remove and replace everything versus taking 3 inches off the surface and putting back 3 inches of HMA asphalt.
And that's what was done there, what, about 10 years ago, you said, on that span?
Yeah, typically our fixes our mill and fill projects, where we mill off the surface, we do some pavement repairs underneath, some curb and gutter repairs, and then we pave 3 inches on top of it with new asphalt. Reconstructs, obviously, you'll have to look at the subgrade, the subbase, all the way up through the finished product of concrete.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Commissioner Nard?
Hi, Brian. I normally would have called you about this before this meeting, so we could have already discussed it. But I just wanted to know, some of my constituents were asking me about that 9-mile road. It's been closed, I think, now 2 years now, so they're just wondering what's going on. And even the business people are starting to inquire about it. It's over by the Owen Jacks area there, so the residents and the business owners are wanting to know what's going on. They rarely see anybody out there working. And I just want to be able to chime something back at them.
9 Mile Road between where and where?
It's between Van Dyke all the way down to Hoover.
I believe that would be a local project. 9 Mile, I don't believe, is under our jurisdiction. We have the evens as far as the mile roads.
Okay.
So I can check as far as the community is concerned, but that wouldn't be one of our projects.
Cool. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Brown?
I've got 2 big potholes in a dirt road out by my farmhouse.
We can shovel some
You know,
gravel.
if you
out
guys
there.
could bring some dirt over there and put some dirt in there, we'd appreciate it. And, you know, and it stirs a gesture of goodwill for the rest of the county. We're happy to share some of the limestone with 10 Mile Road if you need it. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. We have a motion, move this to the full board. Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
The motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. At this point, we're going to combine items 8F and G because they are related. This is the cost share agreement, Chesterfield Township 26 Mile Road, and the cost share agreement, Lennox Township 26 Mile Road. If I can have a motion to go to, who said that?
Support.
Kraft moved it, supported by Wallace. Brian, please.
Yes, Commissioners, this is a cost share agreements with the communities of Chesterfield and Lennox. There was a request by the communities to look at this intersection as far as improvements, so it would improve safety and efficiency. Obviously, we have the high school, Anchorby High School, located on County Line south of here on the east side of County Line. So there was originally previously safety funds to improve the signals and install left turn phases for the signal that were not previously there. We attempted to get the roadway portion of improvements coordinated with that. It did not happen timeframe wise. So we move forward with the signals. This is the actual pavement improvements, right turn lanes established for eastbound and northbound in that intersection, as well as paving the entire intersection. So this is a cost share agreement with both communities for their fair portion of the expense of this road improvement project.
Thank you. Commissioner Kraft?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a side note, Chair Brown is offering up his limestone from his district. I'm not giving any up from mine. But for this topic, thank you. I want to thank you very much. I know that I met with you and the township folks have talked to me. They've talked to you guys. I know there was some miscommunication down the road, but I had the opportunity to talk to Chesterfield. I didn't get a chance to talk to Lennox, but it's so much more palatable now than what it was previously. And I want to thank you for working with me and with them to get this done, because this is an important project and this is something that needs to be done. So thank you, Brian, and thank you to your staff for all the work that they did on this.
Thank you, Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no other speakers, we do have a motion to go to full board. Please vote.
The motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Next on the item is 8H. It's cost share agreement, Macomb Township, Romeo Plank Road Reconstruction Project for 21 Mile to 23 Mile Road. If I can have a motion by Sabatini, support Hall. Brian, please.
Yes, this is seeking approval of a cost share agreement with Macomb Township for the right-of-way costs and design of Romeo Plank reconstruction between basically 21.5 Mile Road and 23 Mile Road. That would connect our future 23 mile that's going to be extended to 5 lanes from Romeo Plank to the east. We have a couple more projects to get it to Romeo Plank, and this will follow suit after that as far as a roadway expansion and reconstruction. So this would be a cost share for the preliminary engineering design and the right-of-way costs for that section of roadway on Romeo Plank.
Thank you, Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. Brian, just want to say thank you for getting this done. This is a huge improvement. I mean, this is bumper-to-bumper traffic every single day in that area. It's just a nightmare, so this is going to be huge for the township. So thank you. Thank you, Chair.
You're welcome, Commissioner.
Thank you. To follow up on that, though, not that I drive that specific road, but I'm by it all the time there in Hall Road. It's already all under construction on Hall Road. How is the road patterns going to be getting around that whole area?
Romeo Plank will be finished, the state is finishing Romeo Plank to Elizabeth this year. Obviously, we're going to have this project, you know, it is up by 25, actually, this project for the Romeo Plank section between 21 and 23 is slated for, I believe, 2023.
Oh.
So we're going to be done with, or MDOT will be done with their Hall Road project well before this project takes place. This is just for the preliminary engineering and right-of-way acquisitions.
Thank you. Commissioner Zinner?
I'm sorry,
Okay. Seeing no other speakers, we do have a motion for full board. Please vote.
The motion passes 13-0.
Thank you very much. We do have correspondence from Public Services, Department of Roads, project information sheet, 25 Mile Road. I'd like to ask for a motion to receive and file.
So moved.
Support. Moved by Romano, supported by Van Sickle. Do you have any comments, Brian?
No, I'm
Okay.
good if nobody has
Commissioner Zinner?
Thank you, Chair. Brian, I know there's going to be work done on that roundabout. So, but I wasn't clear when I read it. Is it going to be changed or just work done around it on that 25 mile?
No, this will be the westerly leg, the westerly intersection of Romeo Plank in 25 miles. So we did the easterly leg a few years back. This is a new roundabout that's going to be going on at where Ultramat Farms is, and there's a party store on the northeast corner. This is the westerly leg where it jogs up Romeo Plank. So we will be constructing a new roundabout in that location.
Oh, okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
You're very
Chair.
welcome.
Seeing no other speakers, we do have a motion to receive and file. Please vote.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you,
Take care.
Brian. Appreciate you coming in.
The motion passes 13-0.
Thank you very much. We're going to move on to item 10, new business. Oops. Just a moment. Commissioner Kleinfeld, surprising. Please.
Thank you. First of all, I was wondering if there had been any discussions relative to looking at other attorney firms to see what's available out there. Okay.
I think she's addressing the committee chair. No, I mean, sorry, the board chair.
Well, either one, because I
hasn't
brought
been
it up
anything
a couple times, but I didn't know, you can't just put it on the agenda and then poof, they show up. So I thought there might be some background work taking place. I just didn't know. So I was just checking.
Hasn't been as of yet.
Okay.
And if I may, Mr. Chairman,
Please.
we are having our attorney come in and speak to the issue regarding the audit funds, the audit we paid for. So he'll be receiving some information firsthand from the attorney on that very shortly, his response to your earlier inquiry.
Oh, that was on my list, but that's
figured
not
so.
tomorrow, correct? Because tomorrow is the Hackle v. County one.
Yes,
Okay, so it's at a future meeting?
yes.
Okay, I looked at government ops and I didn't see anything on there, so that
It's
was.
coming.
Okay.
It's coming.
And then if it's going to be at government ops, you're talking about Corp Counsel, correct?
Yes.
Okay. he sent us a court opinion today, which is very interesting, and I have questions related to that. So if we could if we could add that to the agenda while we have him here anyway.
That'd be a good thing to do.
I'm very interested in that opinion. Some of it was a little hard to disseminate exactly what they were saying, but I'm fascinated and I have some questions relative to that. So, and then the other one, I would just like to reiterate, it's been years and years and years since we've gone out, and I know that he's handling Hackleby County, but I would like to see what else is available. The fee's very high, and we've had a lot of billing over the years. I'm just going to be honest, and where we haven't seen, in my opinion, a whole lot of result. I brought it up over and over again. If I have to request that it be an agenda item to consider it, I would then request that it be an agenda item to consider it if you would prefer that the board vote on whether or not to go out for proposals on that. We might stay with the same attorney, but I'd like to see what's available to us. So, and you know, the working relationship with other department heads in the county hasn't been that great. So, I don't know. I'm formally asking if that's the way you'd like to do it, that it be an agenda item that we discuss whether or not to go out for proposals. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just so I'm clear on it, you're not making a formal request on a vote right now. You're waiting until government ops, and if it doesn't happen, then you're going to make the request?
No, because it's not on government ops right now, and he's indicated there's been no discussion, which means it's not progressing. So I guess at this point, I'm making a request to put it on an agenda to have the discussion.
Is that a
because,
formal motion?
You can't make a motion now.
I'm not.
She doesn't need to do that.
I'm not trying to make a motion.
That's why I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Just making a request that it be placed on an agenda. If the board doesn't want to go out, they don't have to go out. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Matuzak?
So do we have an update on our lawsuit with Mr. Hackle?
I don't know.
Board Chair Brown? Board Chair Brown, question I think was addressed to you from Commissioner
sorry?
Matuzak.
Do we have an update on the status of our lawsuit with the county executive?
That's coming, so I can't talk about it in open session, but it's coming.
I actually disagree with that. I think we can talk
Well,
about it.
I'm sorry,
in
but
session,
that's on the voice of
Yeah, we'll
council,
handle
what I'm
that
telling
behind
you.
closed doors.
But, all right, that was not the point of my, it's not what I wanted to talk about, but it has come up. So at some point, there will be
Yes,
a report about this?
Yes.
Do we have an idea when? We've been waiting months now.
It's
We'll
on
do
the
it
agenda.
Thursday.
Yeah.
It's on the agenda for Thursday.
yes.
All right,
It's on Civic Clerk, I think you can see it on now, I think it's on Civic Clerk now.
all right,
Thank you. Is that it?
No,
Oh, please
that wasn't the
continue.
reason I
Please
buzzed
continue.
in. It just came up, what can I say? The discussion about roads, which we have seemingly the endless discussion about roads. In Clinton Township, as part of our strategic plan, we actually formed a road committee, which I am on, and we have spent the last 6 months learning about the intimate details of road funding. And come fall, we are about to take our show on the road with a very clear, in sort of a workshop format, with a very clear understanding of the kinds of roads money, how that money flows through the flow chart, and what are the decision-making points along the way. We are anticipating that this will be interactive, in which we will give people a scenario where they have to choose where the money goes based on the condition of the road and what exists along this road and traffic patterns, to give our constituents an opportunity to do what Brian was talking about. When that is finalized, I will be inviting all of you. It will be township specific, but it has taken us 6 months working with MDOT and SEMCOG and the county road department and the township road department to identify all of the many little pots of money that exist out there and who makes decisions about how that money gets spent and where. And we're in the process now of pulling that together, like I said, as a presentation. And when we are ready to hit the road, I will let you all know and invite you to come and learn what it's taken us 6 months to decipher. And when the SEMCOG guy goes, oh, I didn't know that. That's a pot of money. Where does that money come from? It's like all of us have learned a huge amount in this process where we have put together the bits of information each of our segments has to actually create a big picture, and it's pretty amazing. So I will let you know when that happens, and then when Brian comes before us, we may have a better sense of what he's talking about and how he's making decisions. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner, and maybe I'll go one step further. Once you've trial run it in your community, if you could show me it, and potentially there'll be a presentation for this board.
No, absolutely. We will be happy to do that. Like I said, part of it, because it's interactive maps and things, will be township specific, but the overall pictures about kinds of roads, kinds of road money, and what the decision-making points are will be universal to everybody.
It's, when I was involved and led the 2015 legislation, I dove far deeper than I ever wanted to in roads, and it is very complex, so if you do a good job putting it together, I think it'd be a great thing for a brief presentation for this committee. Thank you very much. Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. I have a request when the lawyer comes to talk to us about the report that we did for the previous prosecutor. I would like the lawyer to include any kind of information such as dates as to when some kind of statute of limitation, that may not be the right word, runs out as far as if that person is found guilty of crimes, what kind of date do we have to go back and try to recoup our funds?
I think the vast majority of it is passed, but there may be a seeking of criminal restitution. That may be our only option, is what they do in that capacity.
Well, if there's some kind of date attached with that, I'd like to have that included in the briefing from that lawyer.
Good request. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Sabatini.
Thank you, Chair. As we all know, these last couple weeks, or few weeks, I should say, we've had this, the great amount of rain. And I'm sure many of your constituents, hopefully, have not been affected by this in their homes. But I've had some that have called me and have been questioning about the Great Lakes Water Authority. And years ago when I was on this board, that was one of a big topic, and it had to be approved by this board, that authority. I was very, very concerned about it. I did not support it. I can tell you that in my community as well as in your communities, I'm sure your water rates have been skyrocketing to a point now that I think it's just getting out of control. A lot of my constituents are asking me why our water rate's going so high and we're still having so many problems. So, Chair Brown, I don't know when, as far as the authority, I know Brian Baker from Public Works is on that authority, but is there anyone else, or when has there been a presentation by that authority to this board? And I haven't been here in 4 years. I'm just curious, since they came here and asked for that support and those votes, have they ever been back to give us any type of update? And I think now, as to what's going on, I think it's warranted.
Chair Brown?
They haven't. They have never been back here. They have not. And we have new representation on there since the past election, since Public Works Commissioner Miller's taken over the office. I'll talk to her about bringing someone out from that authority to come out here and give us a presentation. Good time to do it. They're on the hot seat. We might as well continue to turn up the flame. And as coincidence has, tomorrow there's a Great Lakes Water Authority, about a 96-inch water main that they've invited me to attend, and I'm going to chime in on there and see who shows up in that meeting and just listen in, because it's the first time I've been invited to anything with regard to the Great Lakes Water Authorities. Of course, being chair, I guess I would, but as a commissioner, I wouldn't necessarily have been. Mm-hmm. So we're on the trail, we're on the scent, so I'm glad to hear your concerns as well, and we'll bring that before the whole board. There's
you,
many
Chair.
reasons why. There's that.
And I know
there's a
Public Works
whole big
Commissioner
can of
Miller
worms,
has been
and I
working on this and the issues that she's been having. I just think it's warranted, and the reason I'm bringing this up obviously is what's been going on, but my other curiosity is, have they ever been back here since that was approved? And
Not that I'm
Commissioner
aware. I
Kleinfeld's
don't
nodding
believe so.
no.
I don't think
So
so.
I think it's warranted, and I thank you, Chair, for, following up on that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Very
Chair.
good.
Thank you, and staff, if you can work with Chair Brown to make it happen. Appreciate it. Commissioner Zinner?
Thank you, Chair. I brought this up before in regard to teenage immigrants across the country being brought into places, into cities, as many as 200 at a time. I heard Congresswoman Lisa McLean say yesterday that there are 2 places in Michigan that they are at now. In the places that I've read about and heard of, watched the reports on in the country, they are guarded by several agencies, including police agencies, federal, state, and police, local police. I don't know anything about these agencies, about the facilities where these teenagers are being kept in Michigan. I don't know where they are. I called to find out. Someone's looking into that for me. So I'm concerned about the teenagers that may be brought here or families that may be brought here and the cost to Macomb County, because Macomb County, a lot of people have been hurting. They've been hurting. They need money, and we need to take care of our people. I have sympathy for other people, but we have our Macomb County people to take care of. And also, they're talking about the shots, the COVID shots, for people going to college. And I think, at least in Macomb County, those shots should not be required for anyone who, as an American, has a choice to make that shot. Either way, we're Americans, they should not have to do that. Also, in regard to the water, I had a citizen call me last week who had a dreadful situation. I wasn't sure what agency to start with, and I had to call several different people, and everybody I talked to could not have been more helpful. They called that person, they had the problem solved, she didn't know it, and I was just so proud of everybody that I called, the workers, the subordinates, going to check that. She felt much better with this rain. It was supposed to be coming on Thursday, which ended up hitting on Friday and Saturday. And it was just a nice coordination of people working here with Macomb County. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Kleinfeld?
I just wanted to clarify something that Commissioner Sabatini maybe remember. Almost everybody else except for Dawn is new to this. It was when Detroit declared bankruptcy, so the GLWA, we were told, okay, we have to vote on it, but we can't vote no on it. Do you remember? Because it was part of that settlement. So even if a majority of us voted no, a judge was basically telling us, you don't have a choice, you have to vote yes. It's not very often that I have votes in front of me where I'm told I have to vote yes, I don't have a choice. That was one of those instances. I just wanted everybody to know that. With regard to the shots, I'll leave that up to Macomb Community College to make that decision. But I will say, if we all have to go back to wearing masks indoors, I'm not going to be a happy camper about that. Thank you.
Commissioner Van Sickle?
Thank you, Chair. Talking about the recent rain runoffs, I've read some things that said that they're like a 500-year event and things like that. But I would like to point out that a while ago, we were briefed about alternative things that we can do in our communities to help rain runoff. For instance, in our homes, we can have rain barrels and some other things like that. As we have more development, particularly in the north end of Macomb County, and we put more dirt under cement, whether it be driveways or house basements or roads. As we do that, we aggravate the whole runoff situation because it's the raw dirt that holds the water, retains the water as it comes down as rain. And the more that we put our Macomb County surface under cement or asphalt, whatever, we aggravate the whole runoff problem. I don't have a solution, I'm just raising people's awareness of this whole issue. And possibly we should do something about promoting the alternatives that people can do to help the runoff from their properties not go down the rain gutter, or rain sewer, whatever, immediately, and maybe have it released in a more casual basis. I forget if anybody remembers if that presentation was given here about the alternatives that people can do, if somebody can remind me where that is, or otherwise I'll try to go look for that and see if I can find anything about that. But I'd like to try to help the situation in a distributed fashion. It would also help us not have as much rebuild cost possibly for our underground infrastructure. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Chair Brown, did you have
Mr.
something?
Chairman, SEMCAC's got a wealth of information they'll be happy to share with you. You ask them about that, they'll give you plenty of information on that. From something an individual can do to something whole communities can do. Thank you.
Well, then possibly we can look into that and possibly promote it as a board. Thank you.
I think Board Chairman Brown also is going to volunteer chicken feed from his district to help with the disbursement of the water. Seeing no other speakers on new business, we're up to public participation. So while the public comes into the room here, we'll just wait. Seeing no public participation, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn. Commissioner Romano, and supported by Zinner. Let's vote.
Good job, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, everyone.
Thursday.